Hello and welcome back to the channel. I've got a video here which has got 3 different beers in. They're all from the same brewery. It's a brewery more known for their traditional beers and a brewery that I do enjoy those beers. So the brewery is Badger. They've brought out a range of more contemporary styles. Now, I'm sure you know by now I do enjoy my Badger beers, so I thought I'd give their more contemporary, craftier side a bit of a go. There were 3 I managed to pick up. Bear with me. And got all 3 of them here. Now the mini range of the craftier, more contemporary styles are called Outland, and the ones I have are a Hazy IPA coming in at 4.2%. For one of the 3 I'm most looking forward to, a West Coast IPA coming in at 5%. I do like a nice West Coast, although 5% does seem a little low for a West Coast, but I'll give it a go, see what it's like. And a Ginger Pale also coming in at 5%. Obviously there was one particular ginger beer that I liked. I think we all know which one that is. Oh, Tyrion's come down to join me there. So, well, I'd give them a go, see what they're like. I like their traditional beers, so hopefully I'll like these ones as well. So I think the first one I'll go for will be the Hazy IPA. So let's pop those 2 to one side for a minute. There we go. And we'll have a look at this one. So, Outland by Badger. Hazy IPA, like I say, it comes in at 4.2%. Just trying to have a look and see what info they've got on there. So they have listed the hops, and this one's brewed with Citra and Amarillo hops. Both quite nice for a hazy IPA, I would say, if you like Citra. A lot of people don't. Not really much else on there. They've got a little bit of blurb about this new range, but I say new, it's been out for a little bit. I just haven't managed to get around to picking some up yet, but it's new to me anyway. So the design itself is quite simple. You've got well, what looks like fossilized leaves, obviously a callback to the fact that being down in Dorset, they're on the Jurassic coast. I think that on one of them I did see that they have even mentioned that. They say hazy, juicy, citrusy, light and hazy, like long summer days at Lulworth Cove. So, nothing else really on the can. There's only one thing to do. So, whack it in the glass, see what it's like. Oh, I think I went a bit too vigorous there, as you can see. That's okay. I'm expecting possibly maybe like a slightly amped up version of Ghost Ship perhaps. Not quite to the level of Oakham Citra, I wouldn't have thought, but well, we'll see. Not going to prejudge it. So, in the glass, it is, I don't know if you can see on my camera, it's not very pale. A mild amber in colour, and actually it's hazy, but I mean, around at the base of the glass I can just about glimpse through it. So it's not hazy, you know, it's not got haze for days as you say. It's got quite strong carbonation, but not overly so. You know, it's vigorous enough to replenish that head. It looks alright. Okay, it does look like it's more on the traditional side, but you know, that's what they're good at. So if they've given a traditional sort of effect but on a craftier note, I'm not going to complain. As long as it's got the elements of a hazy IPA, you know, what you're looking for really. So let's have a look. Plenty of citrus on the nose. That's bang on, that is. You know, there's blood orange in there, hints of grapefruit maybe. No, there's no maybe about it. Hints of grapefruit coming in. It builds slowly, that one, but it's there. There's a slightly less citrus fruity note in the background. Can't quite pick that out yet. Might be something delicate like lychee, just something to balance it off and round it a bit. But it's a citrus heavy IPA. And with Citra in the brew, that's what you're going to expect, isn't it? You know, it's not, I'm not picking up thinking, oh, am I going to get pineapple or anything else. You know, it's what I was expecting. So I'm not going to be displeased about that. See if I can't get the rest of the can in now that it's died down a bit. Maybe not quite so vigorous this time. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, looks good, smells good. I like that. It's quite smooth. You are getting plenty of citrus, but you're getting a piney resinous character. They haven't said it's a New England IPA, so that's not going to make me go, they've got that wrong. They've just said hazy IPA. You can get a hazy West Coast, you can get a hazy Mountain, you know. That piney bitterness, and it comes in really early, is really nice. The citrus flavour is being used as the balancing flavour, which is, it's a different way of doing it, but I like it. I do like having that bitterness front and centre. That, well, you know how much I like a nice bitter character in a beer, so that is absolutely delicious. The carbonation isn't too heavy, so it's not being zingy, if you like. You know, your palate is opened, you're getting all of the flavour in. That's all you need. You don't want huge carbonation as you're drinking it. You want the carbonation to begin with to really liven up the beer, but then you don't need it, do you? There's grassy notes in there. And at that 4.2, that's sessionable as well. That's a fantastic beer. Not quite sure whether I'd honestly call it a craft beer, but you can see what they're trying to do, and for me, they've done it well. There is a slight aftertaste which, if I'm perfectly honest, reminds me a little bit of Golden Champion. That slight, very slight peachy floral character at the very end. So in a way, they're just reminding you it is a Badger beer. That is absolutely delicious. Got to put it down or I'll have nothing left for the thumbnail photo. Absolutely wonderful. I could easily sit down and have plenty of those, especially on a nice hot summer's day. It's a fantastic beer. And at the end of the day, what more do you really need? It's piney, it's grassy, it's citrus. Okay, it's not quite what I would expect just by reading Hazy IPA. I would possibly expect juicy and tropical, because we've been so pre-programmed, if you like, over the last few years of if it's a hazy IPA it's going to be New England, and it's just a reminder that you don't have to go down that route. You can have a more traditional style, you can have a West Coast. In fact, I'd say that's half traditional Old World IPA, half hazy West Coast IPA, married together beautifully. The only thing that's missing is the hedgerow character from a traditional English IPA, but I don't think that would work in that one. That is absolutely fantastic. Yes, you can see they've taken elements of Ghost Ship and Oakham Citra, but they've made it their own. You know, the addition of the Amarillo hops balance it out lovely. It's not too citrus heavy. That is fantastic. Delicious. Right, well, that's that one. So we've got 2 more coming up. So I will see you in video time very shortly. Okay, and we're back for the second of these 3 Badger Outland beers. And for this one, I've decided to go with the West Coast IPA. It says bold, hoppy, citrusy on the front, so sounds good to me. And if we take a quick look at it, as you can see, it comes in at 5%. This time the design is, I would say, it looks a bit like the cliffs along the Jurassic Coast there, so that looks good. Let's have a look, see what it says. Like the Jurassic Coast, everything else pales in comparison. A truly spectacular IPA made from a tasty trio of Amarillo, Cascade and Mosaic hops. 3 fantastic West Coast hop varieties there. To give it a deep bronze colour, punchy citrus flavours and a powerful hop character. Oh. So, see what it's like, shall we? As before, there's not much else really on the can to speak of. So, there's only one thing to do. Let's get it out and see what it's like. Won't give it such a vigorous pour as the Hazy had. But let's see what we've got there. Okay, even with a much less vigorous pour, it's still got quite a bit of head there. So, yep, that's a rich gold bronze in colour, as you can see, with a good finger and a half there of, well, quite fluffy white head actually, very clean. Carbonation gentle but steady. Looks good. Perfectly clear beer. Oh, see what it's like. On the aroma, I am picking up only very slight hints of citrus, grassiness. Not a lot else on the aroma. It does smell more like a traditional old world beer. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I love my traditional beers, but I'd expect something piney and resinous in the aroma, being a West Coast IPA. Not to worry, it's all in the taste after all. Yep. Like I say, not really much coming out on the nose there. Main thing is, it doesn't smell bad, and that's a start. It is very nice. Let me preface everything I'm going to say with that. It's a very nice beer. I don't think I'd call this a West Coast IPA. I'd call it an IPA, but it's very much in the traditional style. Yes, it's not quite completely traditional, you know, it's got those American hops in it. Yeah, it's not going to be a traditional IPA, not with Mosaic and I'm just missing something there. And I know what I'm missing. Pininess, resinous character. There is a grassiness in the flavour, you know, a freshness in there, but it's muted. It is a shame. I mean, it's delicious. You can tell the difference between this and an Old World IPA, you know, it's not made with Goldings and Fuggles and all your other hedgerow hop varieties. Just everything seems to be turned down a little bit. Yes, it is only 5%. So have they sacrificed some of that punchy character to make it a more sessionable beer? Perhaps. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. A good sessionable beer is fantastic. You know, something you can enjoy a few of with your mates or something. You know, nothing wrong with that. But after the last one, and it's just me overthinking it probably, I was expecting a bit more. Trying to remove myself from that memory of the first beer and look at this new. Yeah, it's a fairly decent sessionable West Coast IPA. There's no doubt about that, and it's a delicious beer. Maybe class it as a mountain IPA, but then it hasn't got any of those juicy characters you'd expect from a mountain. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed because I do enjoy this beer. It's just not what I was expecting. We'll put it that way. I mean, other than that, absolutely fantastic. If they just said IPA rather than adding the West Coast in, I wouldn't have even thought about it. Of course, after reading Cascade and Mosaic on the back, I might have gone, well, surely it's a West Coast, but we'll ignore that. It's a nice beer. I could easily have a few of these. Like I say, not disappointed, just maybe slightly confused. But there we go. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Don't mind having my preconceptions changed slightly. Just think maybe I was jumping the gun a little bit there with that one. But decent beer, very delicious. There is a nice touch of bitterness in there. It's not piney and resinous, it's not tart and citrusy, it's just a nice, well, hoppy bitterness. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's all you would have got from a decent beer 50, 100 years ago, a bit of hoppy bitterness, and that's what you'd want to expect in a beer. I'm just thinking I'm missing something here, I think. Other than that, you know, there is a very slight citrus character in there. I wouldn't go with the sweeter side, like blood orange fruit or satsuma. It's definitely not on there. It's not on the sour side like lemon and lime. It is just a gentle citrus character. Bit of balancing grassy note in there. This one I wouldn't mind a bit of a hedgerow character coming in, because I think it would lift it up a bit, freshen it slightly. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But not what I was expecting to drink. But a very good beer nonetheless. And at the end of the day, why do you drink a beer? Because you want a nice beer. That's the, if you like, the be all and end all of it, isn't it? It's the only reason we like to drink a beer, because we want to have a beer that we want to drink. There's no two ways about that. But I probably would buy it again. Now that I've tried it, I would know to kick that West Coast out of my mind, and then I'd be able to enjoy it a bit more, I think. Other than that, a good beer. If you have had that one, let me know what you thought of it and whether you think it maybe doesn't quite hit the West Coast mark. But yeah, it's perfectly fine, perfectly good, really enjoyable beer. So, finish that one off, and I'll see you in video time, as I say, in a very few minutes, and we'll have the last one, which is the Ginger Pale Ale. That one's also 5% like this one, so we'll see how that one stacks up. I'm thinking that one's going to be a bit lighter, so we shall soon see. So, in a moment, we'll crack that one on. Until then, see you in a second. Okay, we're back for the third and final beer in this little look at the Outland beers from Badger. And of course, you must have guessed by now, it's the Ginger Pale Ale, coming in at 5%. Hazy, spicy, sweet are their three buzzwords on the can there. Let's have a look at it. Bold, unwavering, a real one of a kind, just like Dorset's old Harry Rocks. Spicy ginger takes centre stage in this hazy pale ale brewed with WGV and Goldings hops. Very traditional. Expect refreshing, balanced yet punchy flavours. So, I'm guessing that that is a depiction of the Harry Rocks on the can there. So, as before, little else on the can of note to read. But, like I say, 5% ginger pale. Let's give it a go, shall we? Now, I'm not always keen on a beer brewed with ginger. There is one that I have enjoyed very well. I think we all know what one that is. Well, I'm sure Paul and John do anyway. So, here we go. Right, I can smell the ginger straight away. I've not even brought it up to my nose and I can smell the ginger. Pale gold, yellowy, gingery, slightly hazy with gentle carbonation. Looks alright. Solid finger and a sliver of, well, fluffy, clean, quite compact white head. Let's give it a go. Ginger. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The aroma is ginger. It's more on the sweet side of ginger than the spicy side, which actually I think I prefer. but without a shadow of a doubt, all I'm getting there is ginger. Oh. Just trying to think, with those Goldings hops, is it going to be a sort of a traditional golden beer in flavour, but with the ginger? We'll soon see. Obviously, on the taste, it is ginger. It's definitely on the sweeter side. You know, more stem than root, if you like. No bitterness to speak of. I hate to say it. It's a little blander than I was thinking it would be. Certainly a bit blander than I was hoping for. The ginger's there, it's not punchy. It is tasty. Maybe not quite as tasty as I was hoping for. You are picking up that underlying flavour, and it is a traditional golden ale. It's not bad. It's not crisp, it's not refreshing, it's just a golden ale with ginger in it. Maybe an alcoholic ginger beer would have been better if you wanted the flavour. But, you know, it's fine. It's a slightly refreshing, sweet and smoky, spicy ginger beer. There's nothing wrong with it. Just not quite what I would have liked. I don't want tons of resinous bitterness. Just a slight rolling bitterness at the back end would have been nice to balance it out, maybe. But it's tasty. It is a sessionable beer. It's very drinkable. Just not very memorable, which is a shame. Maybe I should have done them the other way round, because at least then I would have been ending on a high. I definitely did them in order of best, okay, worst out of the three, but they're all drinkable beers, they're all sessionable beers, they're all quite tasty in their own ways. But for Badger's first real foray into the craftier side of things, yeah, I think I'd go with that. They're all perfectly good beers. And at the end of the day, that's what you really need, isn't it? A nice drinkable beer. It's a little bit too sweet for me. I can still enjoy it, and like I say, at the end of the day, as long as you've got something you can enjoy, that's all that really matters. But would have liked a little bit more, I think, just a little bit. Maybe that's just me. It's a very subjective thing, taste. My taste says give me some more. Bit more of this, bit more of that, make it a bit punchier. Never mind, you can still enjoy it. So, on that note, cheers to you all. I hope you've enjoyed my little look at these different Outland beers from Badger. And of course, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe down there. Please do let me know what you thought of these 3 different beers if you've had them, because I'd be interested to see what other people think. And of course, until next time, happy drinking.